Thank you, members, for this good opening dialogue. I actually just had Representative Tallarico. I just had a former member who's not with us anymore. It's actually worse than being unelected. He was actually elected to the United States Congress, and he's up in Washington right now tuning in, and he texted me and he said, man, I sure do miss the Texas House. And so I hope for those folks who've traveled here to the Capitol, we're looking forward to hearing your testimony. We welcome it, Mr. Chair. I know we want to get to it as soon as possible. There's just a couple comments that I do want to make at the outset. This morning, before I walked into this committee hearing, I talked to each of my three children, Brady, who's a junior, Charlotte, who's in 8th grade, and Landry, who's in 4th grade. They are in public schools. Brady's at Allen High School, Charlotte's at Erickson Middle School, and Landry's at Green Elementary School. Brady's actually taking the SAT as we speak right now, and he's going to do great. But we love our public schools, and I won't apologize for that. And whether this bill passes or not, even if this bill does pass, we're not leaving our public schools. And we love our teachers. We're active. We are excited about the things that are happening in Allen ISD. And I agree with Representative Hinojosa that we, all of us, parents and policymakers, need to do a better job at promoting the great things that are happening in public schools. All of us. There are wonderful Texans serving in public schools, wonderful families who have their kids in public schools, and we should promote that more aggressively. But there's also really, really great things happening in private schools all across the state and in home schools. And, you know, I hear some of my colleagues here on the committee and outside talk about this not being a true bill about freedom and choice. I've heard the rhetoric that this is about it's the school's choice, not the parent's choice. And I've thought a lot about that and kind of wrestled with what my reaction is. And I think where I am this morning is, what's the problem with that? Why is true freedom and choice and competition something that we are afraid of? Right now, the fact is, public schools have choices that parents don't have. We have over 1,200 independent school districts in this state, each of whom the state has empowered to make certain decisions that many parents in those districts disagree with. One of them we've talked a lot about over the past few weeks in this committee, the teacher incentive allotment, which I know there's some disagreement on this committee, but I think that some of my colleagues, Representative Tallarico, I don't want to speak for, but I think has been a supporter of the teacher incentive allotment, and there needs to be improvements and ways that we strengthen that program. But that is all about training up and raising up and compensating teachers more and creating some competition thereby in our public schools. But there are some school districts, including my own, that don't participate in the teacher incentive allotment. And parents in those districts have very, very little ability to force their school districts to participate. So what do we say to that? That's the school's choice. Same thing with 4-day school weeks. I've got a couple school districts in my house district that are just 4-day school weeks. That's their choice to do so. Open enrollment public schools, which I think is something that this committee should have serious discussions and deliberations about. There are a few school districts in my district that are open enrollment, that have declining enrollment and are making up the space in their school districts by accepting students from other districts. And in many cases, like in the instance of Lovejoy ISD in House District 67, there are students that are driving over 60 miles every single morning whose parents are driving them because they believe that that public school district can better serve their students and their families. That, to me, is true freedom and choice and competition. And I would admit, or I would argue that those parents that are driving their students, let's say from Denton ISD to Lovejoy ISD, they're passing by dozens and dozens of private schools on the way there. They're making the choice because they're afforded the choice, because this legislature has given them the choice. I would argue we haven't given them the choice. They should have the choice, and we should protect that right. And so I hear this argument about this bill being all about billionaires and millionaires and special interests, and I just don't, that's not why I'm supporting this bill. I'm supporting this bill and I do believe there needs to be some improvements, Mr. Chairman, and I appreciate the way you're approaching this and the way that you've given us the ability and the people here the ability to help perfect this bill. But the reason that I'm supporting this at the very core is because I believe that freedom and choice and competition, true freedom, true choice, true competition, are not four-letter words when it comes to public education. And I don't want to duplicate what Florida has done. I don't want to duplicate what Arizona has done. I don't want to duplicate what Louisiana has done. I want a Texas solution. I want to do this the Texas way. And so I'm excited about this discussion. I'm eager to hear from my colleagues and to hear from the people of Texas as we move forward. I would just simply ask that we keep that in mind, that we can do both. We can be friends and advocates, proudly so, of our public schools, and also support the right and the choice and the freedom of Texas families to direct their kids' education.